Hi guys, welcome again. This time coming to you with Funkoverse. A lot of people have been asking for it, so here it comes. This will be review of all the sets that I haven't reviewed before, almost all. So first, this is the only set, except for Darkwing Duck, that I don't know if has been released properly yet, that I haven't played at all. So this will be just initial impression, and we'll just move to the sets that I have more, that I am more familiar with. This set I haven't played, unfortunately. I will play it soon, probably, but I just didn't want to wait any longer. I will maybe do an update video in the future with all the rankings and all the stuff. Sorry about that. But here, let's just go through it really fast. Jon Snow, I think he's decent. I know a lot of people are very excited about his ability for the shifting tokens. I'm not so excited. Um, Also, the first one, the second one, and the third one, the third ability, they're just okay. I will give Jon like 3 stars. I think he has potential, but I do not see myself making a team around Jon Snow. Then let's move to his aunt, Daenerys. And Daenerys has a very interesting. This set basically is the token set, I would say. Daenerys has a token, Night King has tokens, and there is a ghost as a companion. So Daenerys here, the Dracarys ability to attack each turn, maybe even for multiple people, or just making them um, move in a different direction so they cannot be attacked by Dracarys each turn without even like Daenerys can be completely safe and Dracarys can just wreak havoc upon your opposition. So I think this is very interesting. She's just using 1 red, so there are a lot of characters like, for example, Harley Quinn that don't use their tokens. So maybe you can do something with that. Maybe you can just build a team around where Daenerys can use the red token and just do that while also doing something else because she still has 1 action for herself. So I think Daenerys is very interesting. This is one I really want to try. I don't expect her to be broken. Usually, like 1 attack with challenge 3, that's probably not enough for current metagame. Like with each release, we get more refined teams, we get more refined builds, so it's just getting better. There is not necessarily a power creep, but just because there are many more options if you play like without drafting from a random pool by just selecting the best cards, best characters out of all, the teams will get better. I think at this point Daenerys is like okay-ish, but I'm very excited for her, so 3 stars. Then we go into Arya. Arya is someone that immediately jumps to you when you think about it. Um, like challenge 6, that's just insane. That's Voldemort, and that has been the biggest challenge out of the game right now. Here we just have this, and you can actually teleport and do that. Voldemort sometimes cannot have the sightlines to do that. Here, Arya can easily teleport and also do a challenge too. So that just sounds amazing. All you need to do is that they have the Arya status card, and uh, it's not that hard to give that status. She's the perfect anti-glass cannon, I think. Like Voldemort is her dream opposition, actually. And I think she's just solid. I think the game will kinda move away a little bit mm, from the getting points from challenges. I think with how many sets have been released, we have an excellent way of getting points from the scenarios and from the points. So those are always those actions always succeed. Challenge 6 Even challenge 6 can fail at some point. So I think that generally Arya is good, and I would say I would give her probably 4 stars. But I think that she like if she was released initially, she would probably get a five stars. Right now, I think that she's just good. And then we go into the Night King, and this one I think is one of the best ones here. The challenge with the range is excellent. Like Arya can probably needs to put herself in a harm's way to properly do this 6 challenge, but maybe not. Maybe you can just not teleport Arya and just use just use this challenge 6. Raise the dead and just the ability to passively get minions that interfere with your opponent's movement, sometimes can even attack them. Challenge 1 doesn't sound that great, but maybe sometimes it will knock someone over. I generally think that you are playing Night King just for the spawning some whites and then using Ice Spear. What I've seen people do in the recent tournament is that you can use Ron Innervate ability to get points, for example, with whites, and with like Draco Malfoy tokens. I think that you will not normally be able to do. So I think those are viable strategies here, and the Night King is looking good here. The closest comparison will come sooner. I think in the Nightmare Before Christmas set there is something. There is a guy that's really similar to Night King, and I think the other guy is just a little bit better. So Night King here gets 4 stars as well. A Ghost companions are very tricky, but I think Ghost right now is the best one. I think you can pair him really nicely with Morty, so that's something I would really like to try. Ghost for me, Ghost I'm rating as an item, so Ghost gets 2 stars right now. I don't think he's the best, but maybe I will be proven wrong. The important part about Ghost is that he prevents sightlines, so that's something that you can abuse maybe sometimes. Needle does look very good. Increasing a challenge or a move, that's like the two things that you want to do. Placing on 2 doesn't sound too prohibitive. We have a lot of abilities that move down items, so that's also really nice. I think Needle is one of the best. I actually give it 5 stars. I think it's just very, very solid. And let's move to the next one. So here we have a set that I've played, I think, only 2 games with. Marty McFly and Doc Brown, and I think especially Doc is a character that you need like 10 games with to properly assess, maybe even more. So for Marty, he's pretty straightforward. He's just a good scout, and he has excellent fix the timeline that you can steal tokens with. And I think he's very, very good for flags. Like Nobody Calls Me Chicken is an ability that's excellent for flags because you usually you can just move away, and it does like surprising move. And Nobody Calls Me Chicken is probably underrated a little bit. Like maybe it's very risky to attack Marty sometimes because you can be prepared for 2 attacks, but you fail the first attack and suddenly Marty moves away and you cannot attack the second time, so you kind of waste an action on the second one, which is very painful. And Marty just not only gain an action, gain positioning on you, and probably just won the game with flags, for example. This has happened to me twice actually. Of course, it's also risky. Like if you just not fail challenge, this ability does nothing. But it can be pretty surprising. Like attacking Marty is even more scary than attacking one of the one of the grandmas from the Golden Girls series. As for Doc Brown, the DeLorean is just so hard to estimate. Marty, by the way, 4 stars for me, but maybe even 5 in some scenarios. Doc Brown, actually Marty 5 stars. Sorry about that. Doc Brown, on the other hand, the DeLorean so hard to estimate. Like initially, you just want to play 4 costers and make them 1 costers, but then you have to think about items. Maybe you like if you use the 3 cost item and you flip every other, you will actually never get it. Then maybe you pair it with maybe you just use Great Scott, for example, to get it back up. Maybe. Um, Also, like maybe you just use companion with the ground. Maybe that's the way, or maybe you just use an item that doesn't use the cooldown track. On the other hand, you have the abilities with like freeze and ones. So again, maybe you just use Great Scott to fish out the things that you really need to do. For the 4 costers, do you pair him with Ron, for example? That just sounds good. Maybe you can also use like a gray and yellow third, so you can have 3 colors. Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe you do not need another yellow because you will just get back the yellow each turn. There's just so many questions, and the important part also, like my initial plan to go with Doc Brown was to get the excavating doctor from Jurassic Park, and then the I always forget the names. The guy who sacrifices himself for another turn, but this sadly doesn't work that great because you need to like he's putting himself on 1, so you cannot flip the board. You can very easily get really, it can be really scary. And I understand why they said you may not use this ability on the first turn, because I would just combo on the first turn out of the point tokens. So that would be really, really scary. But just because you have one more turn, usually your opponent can do something like this. And just if you look to the left side, Marty is excellent and at stopping all those combos just by fixing the timeline and stealing the point tokens. But when I look at the Doc Brown, there is also one thing that has to be said, is that Doc Brown is actually a Catwoman. You might not realize this, but with 88 MPH and with, for example, Broom, Doc is an excellent point grabber, like flag grabber and point grabber as well. And this can be really abused on some maps. Like he is actually just a better Catwoman. Just because he has 2 and he has probably a more useful passive and more useful other abilities. So I don't know if like they didn't see that or what is this, but Doc can actually move through rivals with his ability. Of course, he has to do it in a straight line. But if you have like 6 or 8 move with a broom, then you can just plan for one of those moves to be in a straight line. I'm not sure if straight line is also diagonal. I think it is, but I might be wrong. But even without it, it's still an excellent ability for the first one. And Doc can be just used for that. I think like Doc, you can use Doc like as a bait, like not really even plan for DeLorean, just use it if it's sometimes useful, and just use him for the first ability and some pretty good AoE. And this AoE is getting better with every release because they are releasing more and more minion tokens and stuff like that. So that can be really, really good. And also the third ability is not bad. You can just accelerate if you like plan accordingly. Then we go into the Nightmare Before Christmas. Finkelstein, let's talk about him first. He is what I was referring to earlier. He's the Night King in disguise. The Igor token is actually really good. Like the ability to push an ally 1 square can actually fix a lot of your positioning mistakes, or just can accelerate someone that cannot reach the stuff, or it can be used to reach the token. It can be used for grabbing territory. Just a lot of uses. And the second ability is also an excellent attack. The Night King has a great attack, right? But I think It's Alive is actually better than this, just because it's cheaper and you do not have to see your opponent. It's actually really great, and you can use the Igor to make it. Um, Brain Scratch, pretty useful as well. Like 2 things on your cooldown track. That's a very, like, it can be a guy, like it can be someone that you can spawn. It can be a point token. You can use it actually twice, to just get token 2 times on your track. This can be a lot of surprising stuff. It's just very flexible. The first one is just, whenever the Igor is dead, because he is very fragile, he's only defense 1, you can just replace him. But also, like, he can do a non-interact basic action, so you can actually use this to also attack somebody. I just think that with the low cost, with the good defense, like the average defense, good passive ability, he's just one of my favorites. Like, he's just so good. He has it all. He has the attack, he has the ability to go for points, he has colors that you can usually use pretty effectively. Both yellow and gray are making its way to a lot of my teams. Yeah, he's just the whole package. So for me, 5 stars. Then we go into Sally. I'm just going to go down here. Sally is a great tank. She's a great leader. You don't want to attack Sally because you'll just attack the hand. She has a very underrated attack with like challenge 3 or 4 for the 2. That's excellent, I think. And that also makes her a great leader because she can very easily late in the turn finish somebody. So if you give her just like some item for mobility, I would probably suggest a hoverboard from the how do you say it, Back to the Future series. For some reason, I didn't have that on the screen, but I will pop it right here for you. By the way, 5 stars for the hoverboard. Sally is just solid here. I think she has like specific uses, and that's why I'm giving her 4 stars. But she's not someone I will like always draft. It's not like, okay, I got Sally, it's good. It's not like Ron Weasley quality. But I think she's better than it seems at the start. Oogie Boogie, on the other hand, not a fan. uh, he like what I would try to do if I would play Oogie Boogie a lot is I would try to just get so many action economy so that I roll Oogie a lot, like even with the basic challenges, so I can shift the tokens down. I think that's the place where Oogie Boogie will shine. Like I would give him a whip, for example. I would pair him with the Rick character from Rick and Morty, and just do a lot of acceleration like this. I still don't think it's great. So for me, Oogie Boogie gets 2 stars. Like the actions are very good if they work, but if they don't, you are just very sad. And it kind of snowballs. Like if you fail them a couple of times at the beginning or at the crucial moments, you can get really in trouble. Jack Skellington, challenge 3 is pretty good. Again, there is a lot of new tokens, new companions, and stuff like that. So AoE is in at a premium. Hail to the Pumpkin King is also pretty nice. Like it can set up your turns better. And what's this can be pretty pretty good as well. And making Christmas is also not bad, but it's just he has like he doesn't have anything that's like immediately jumps to me that this is amazing. Like he's not a scout, he's not a crazy fighter either. He's solid, but just solid. For me, 3 stars. Fog Juice is very good. If you have a team that needs it, it's excellent. I think it's usually better than pairs. So Fog Juice, I really like it. But sometimes, of course, it isn't. But usually, just having another tokens is more flexible than having pairs on one guy. For me, Fog Juice gets 5 stars, one of the better items probably, and Zero unfortunately gets 2 stars, but that's 2 more than Zero. Um, he's just he will get you probably just one, like including him gives you like 1 point. That's how I think about Zero. So he's not bad, but I think there is just other stuff that will make you gain more points over your opponent in the whole game. Then let's get into DOS. The Shark, I've never been impressed by the Shark, to be honest. Just his passive, I think that's just too hard. Like if you get hit by an attack and you die just from one attack, that's just too big of a punishment. If there was an item that lets you, for example, defend with the crit automatically, like there is for attack, I think Shark would have been much better with that item. But here he's a bruiser that doesn't really want to get into the fights with other bruisers, and I just don't think that's a recipe for success. You can maybe try to play him as an assassin, but not against everyone. And I think why use Shark when you can just use Arya probably and be better that way. For me, the Shark unfortunately gets 2 stars. And then we go into Quint. Quint is good, but Quint is expensive. And what I mean by expensive, that his abilities are at least free. And that doesn't cut it anymore, I think. Like in the base set, Quint, I think, pretty decent. But when we go further and further, I think just Quint is not reliable enough. And again, Quint, I look at him and I see like a bruiser assassin type, but again I see Arya and I think Arya is better. So for Quint here, like he has a stand up. I really like this ability, but stand up on 3, that's quite costly. Then he has like move 4 and do a challenge 2. Again, Arya can teleport and do a challenge 2. Can Crusher, range 3, challenge 2, roll extra. So that should be challenge 3. That's pretty good if it was on a 2. Like if it was 2 gray, that would have been amazing. But here, not great. And his passive is just enabling his abilities. So that's, a kind of wasted ability, I would say. So for me, Quint, better than Shark, but still like average, 3 stars. Then we go into the Harry Potter set. This is the set that I've played the most, probably. Dolores, I think she is kinda the better version of the Sophia. I think Sophia from the Golden Girls series. If not for the defense one, I would really like her. She has a couple of great abilities. And what I mean by great is that they're very cheap. And they have something to them. Like the first one has a push, like semi push, that always works. The first one can be like range 2 challenge 4. That's really great. And it can be. But again, she's like a little bit held back by the one in defense. That's always a liability. But every time I played her, I was a little impressed. Like I thought that she will do less, and she was actually pretty useful. So because of that, I will give her a hesitant 3 stars. Let's go down to the Severus Snape. I think the MVP of this set. He's very flexible. He has a great range attack. He can move and do an assist. That's always nice. That's very useful in the brawls. He has a attack with 4 dice. It's melee, but that's okay. And the ability to end the challenge with a status card, that's pretty good as well. For me, Severus is solid. He's kind of jack of all trades in fighting. He's just not that like OP. He doesn't have anything like super good against him, but he will still get 4 stars. Just very decent. Hagrid is an interesting one. He has a very good ability, I would say, and with the ability to, he's just a support character. He's just picking everyone up. The helping hand sometimes will let him move more. He can be used to fight with giant strength. Um, the fact that the target must be standing is a little bit prohibitive, but you can use him to great effect in some scenarios where pushing really matters. Also, the you're a wizard. I think the natural place, of course, for Hagrid to use it is a Voldemort. That's very thematic. So that's pretty cool. But actually, you can do you're a wizard on Ron, for example, to get cheaper innervates. And I think probably you can get, like, I would have to check, and I forgot. I should have probably checked this before. But I think you can get you're a wizard twice around with with inner right. I Probably someone in the comment will correct me, so look there. What I would really like to point to you is that Rubios Hagrid has a great combo with Harley Quinn. Let's imagine you have Harley Quinn and she has a whip. You go to her, you assist her, and suddenly she's making 2 attacks with the whip. Because she just got back up, so she's doing 1 attack, and because of the giant heart, she's doing another attack. That's actually a combo that I've used successfully, and I've seen successfully used against me. I kind of like it. If you pair them with a character that's using a lot of tokens, uh, and you can like use the yellow tokens to also get abilities of Yellow Wizard. It can be really good because neither Harley nor Rubius will use a lot of tokens themselves. Albus Dumbledore, I think it's a little bit of a letdown because he's not the most powerful wizard. The first one, it's just challenge 2. I know it's to 2 different people, and it can be really good to fight tokens. That's really good. And the Petrificus Totalus is a decent attack. But again, target must be standing. It's very costly, both of them. The Pulso, yeah, it can be sometimes nice, but how often? Um, and Headmaster is very thematic, but it just means that you need another character that's actually fighting and not Dumbledore, and it like kind of makes Dumbledore into this awkward support, but at the same time fighter position, which I think doesn't just work very well. I've been very unimpressed with Dumbledore. I'm actually giving him 2 stars, just to voice my disrespect for his lack of power. The Illuminator, this one is okay. I don't think it's great, but it's okay. 3 stars. Veritaserum, I think it's one of the worst items in the game. Probably, it just has very few uses. You have to waste an action, so they will waste an action. Okay, but not. I actually give 1 star to Veritaserum, and I think that's it. I think that's all the sets. There is still Darkwing Duck, but I haven't, even properly looked at it. And there is Alice um, in the Wonderland set coming, which looks pretty good. So I will probably cover them somewhere in the future. Let me know where I was wrong, because I'm 100% sure that about some of these characters I'm totally wrong, because I just didn't have enough games to play with all of them. And you have like this game, when you get into like the combos, it's actually pretty complex. So you have a lot of innovation that you can do. And I just haven't been able to properly test all of them. So let me know how you guys like them, and see you guys in another one. Bye.